Hello and welcome to the Knit and Purl Podcast, episode 129. Thank you if you are new. I hope that you find something of entertainment and inspiration and that you'll click the subscribe button down there, hit the thumbs up button. I thank you very much. If you are returning, thank you as always. You can find the show notes for this podcast on knitandpurl.net. The Purl is P-E-A-R-L. In social media, I am One Fine Cow on Ravelry and Twitter. I am One Fine Design, the number one, on Facebook and Etsy. And I am Doris M. Smith, all lowercase and smooshed together on Instagram. It's Thursday, July 13th. We have a Ravelry group for this podcast. You can find the links in the show notes. Also, you can find links to my social media also in the show notes. We have two new members this week. We have Stitch Whisperer and we have the Yarn and I, who is Cappy, of the Yarn and I podcast. So welcome, ladies. We also have Ravelry group birthday shout outs, and we have 4 birthdays, and this went from July 13th through I think the 26th. And we have Dancing Geek, who is James. His birthday is on the 16th. We have Web Family, who is Katrina. Her birthday is on the 20th of July. We have Grammy Karen, spelled with a C, who is Karen. Her birthday is on the 21st. We have Crafty Melon, who is Melanie. Her birthday is on the 25th. So happy birthday, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a wonderful birthday. I hope that you get good fibery gifts and that you get to spend time with friends and family, or you get to do what you want to do. And if that is sitting at home knitting, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Anyway, eat birthday cake or your version of a birthday cake. Happy birthday. If you are a group member and you don't share your birthday and your birthday is in this time, happy birthday to you as well. That brings us into our knit along, crochet along. We are doing a June, July, and August knit along, crochet along. The rules are you must be a member of the group to qualify for prizes, and there is threads for June, and threads for July, and a thread for August. The person who has knit the most grams of yarn by the end of August will be the grand prize winner. And I didn't bring the grand prizes in this week. If you're interested, you can go back and view last week's episode, or I will show them again next week. Chatters, welcome and encourage on all of the threads. You can double dip and triple dip and whatever dip. If you are doing like the stash, what is it called? The stash down, if you're doing any kind of finished objects in other podcasts, you can put that in as a finished object. The finished objects needs to be finished and have a project page. Have fun and happy knitting, happy summer. So that brings us to, and if you're interested, the rules are at the beginning of each thread. July thread is already opened. You are to put your grams in the project that you post. Put the grams in the post. So that leads us to June prize draw. And I already did the random number. There was 27 entries. 27 entries. And I did 1 through 27. And 26 is the winner, who is Pocketses, who is Sharon. Sharon, please contact me with your full name and mailing address. Tell me which of these DPN cozies you would like. This one has a cute little Choose Happy on the inside. That's the outside. This one is just green and pink, and they all have her tag, Thank God for Bags. This one has a pretty red polka dotty interior. This one is blue, spotted blue, and it has a pretty blue on the inside. So tell me which one of those you want, and go to my Etsy store and pick out either a set of Progress Keepers or stitch markers. Let me know which ones you want, and I will get those out to you as soon as possible. Congratulations. Thank you all who participated, and keep on knitting and getting those projects posted in the July thread. I would thank you so much. Okay, that brings us to Story of the Week and Stash Enhancement. I have a few non-yarn related stash that I got this week. I purchased another bag from Thank God for Bags because this was a different style that she's had before. I don't know if she's had this before. It's like a box, and of course, look at the design. And of course, I had to have it. And in the middle, what I like about these bags is a snap, and then you can put it down. You can make it into a bucket to knit from. And if you look closely, pink sparkly. I have another one coming that's a Route 66 bag, the same style. And it has Missouri on the bottom. I'm from Missouri. I wanted it. So that's that. And I also, oh boy. There's a link in the show notes to this man's thing. He does woodworking. I think his Etsy store is Snyder's. It's on the floor over here. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. Sorry. Here it is. Let's see if we can get it to focus. This is his card. And there's a link in the show notes to his shop. It's a little plaque that says Frogging Happens. And he included this cute little 3D printed sheep. And I just like snug it in there so I wouldn't lose it. Frogging Happens. So, since I last podcast, Ted and I went camping. And on the Saturday while we were camping, we went to the Fugitive Beach, and the kids, the children and grandchildren came and joined us there, and we spent the day. Fugitive Beach is like a reservoir. It used to be a quarry, and they made it into a beach, and it's swimming and sliding and jumping off cliffs, and it was just really wonderful. It was good spending time with the family. Also, we had 4th of July at our house. It was a wonderfully loud and obnoxious time. But everybody had fun and nobody got hurt, so it was a good time. So that's all of that. So I don't have a health pearl this week, so I'll do better next time. So that brings us to foes. Finished objects. I have a little finished object that I want you to be able to see. It's black yarn with sparkles. See it? Ah, there it is. Part of my getting rid of scraps, but there's still some more of this. The big finished object is another scrappy virus shawl, which is a paid for free pattern on Ravelry. And it's by Julia Marcourt. It actually links you to a blog that has a link to a video tutorial for left-handed and right-handed. So if you're not an experienced crocheter and you don't know how to read patterns, you can go there and follow along a tutorial. It's very wonderful. So these are all pieces. This is the last bit of the maroon color from my my Pretty Princess virus shawl, second one I made. That's left over from that. This is left over from the mermaid tail. This gray is this is the last bit of that one. This is the last bit of the yarn that I made a simple raglan cardi a couple of years ago. This is the last bit of yarn from my raspberry cordial. This blue is not the last bit, but the black I still got a little bit more. So I think it turned out lovely. I love it. Another thing about it, when I finished it, the bottom was a little wonky and it's all acrylic. So I took it downstairs, laid it out, and I got my steam iron and I steamed it. And it turned out lovely. I really, really like it. It turned out very nice. It's amazing what the steam iron, when you look at a tutorial of steaming, because you don't put the iron on the product, you hold it over it and just steam it until it's damp, and then you just lay it out and let it dry. It turned out wonderful. So another virus shawl, scrappy virus shawl. So that's all the finished object. I'm going to show you 3 works in progress that I had last time, and I have 2. I'm going to show you 2 works in progress because I didn't do anything on the cowl. So I'm not going to show you that. So in my fat squirrel bag, I have it's Saki or Suki shawl, which is a free pattern on Ravelry by Aspen Knits. The yarn is a Caron cake and the color is cherry chip. The needles I'm using are US 9's Chow Goose, which is a 5.5 millimeter, and it's a 47-inch circular. Here it is. So you can see the marker. There's where I was last week. Got that much done. I think I'm in my 10th pattern repeat, which I don't know. If I block it out, would probably be okay if I finish this thing. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to play it by ear and see. And the pattern is, since we had a talk, it's very simple. There you go. This is how much of the Caron cake I have left. Like I said, I don't know. I might dig into the other one, but that's what I have. Fun pattern. Fun yarn. The next thing, in a bag I got from my Christmas swap last year. It's just a cotton crocheted tote. I have the Summer Loving Wrap, which is a free pattern on Ravelry by KEF Knits. The yarn is Loops and Threads, Impeccable Big. The color is Aran. Shall I show you this big honking thing? Yeah. The needles I'm using are 10.5, US 10.5. I think it's 6.5 millimeters. Just the cheap Walmart ones. So this is where I was, if you can see by my emoji progress keeper. That's where I was. And this is how much I got done. I estimated that I am a third of the way finished with the wrap. Again, another enjoyable knit. So that's all the works in progress from last week, and I have 2 new works in progress. Put that over there, I'll stuff it in later. The first one, in a bag from Thank God for Bags, Sheila. This one is just a no, I don't know what it's called. It's just lined, that's it. I love it. I have something I started using up more scrap extra leftover yarns. Saturday I started the granny scrap blanket with my worsted. This actually is yarn that I was left over from the cozy blanket that I modified just recently. Probably in the spring I knit it. It's a Caron cake. I think it was blueberry cheesecake was the color. So this is just a long-term project to use up scraps of leftover worsted weight yarn. The pattern, I did not put this in my show notes, but I believe there's only one pattern or recipe on Ravelry for the scrappy or the granny stripe blanket. So there it is, just started. Gonna be a long-term project. And I'm using an H, which is a 5 millimeter Boyd crochet hook. And my final project, I had this yarn that I got for Surprise Stash, and you could tell it had been sitting around for a while and it had started to felt on itself, and I didn't want to lose the yarn, so I balled it up, hand wound it, 2 different skeins. I believe they're both the same, and that would be, it is Cascade Yarns Eco Plus. There are 478 yards. If they're both the same, there's 478 yards of each. This one was this. This one came without a tag. It looks similar. They're 2-ply yarns. This one in particular that I know for sure is just 100% Peruvian Highland wool, and it's beautiful, but it was starting to felt on itself and I didn't want to lose it, so I started a shawl. I am doing just a regular simple double triangle. I've got 3 stitches here and 3 stitches down the center spine, and I'm just doing yarn over increases for every other row, and I'm also striping it with both colors. I've never done that before and carried the yarn, so, and I'm using I believe these are US 10s, Addi Turbos. I don't know if I put the, yeah, US 10, Addi Turbos, 40-inch circular. I just started this a couple nights ago and I only worked on it that one night. So it's going to be a cozy, warm, blankety type shawl. These aren't my colors, so I don't know what I'll do with it. I might put it up in my Etsy store when it's finished. But it'll be lovely and warm, and it's really, really nice yarn. It's not, there's a little bit of scratch, but not anything that would bother you to wear as a shawl, I don't think. There it is. Started it, like I said. And I got my another emoji progress keeper to tell me this is the back. Of course, I probably don't need it now that I've started strapping because I know it's the back. And I have a few of my handmade stitch markers, but the camera's not wanting to focus. There you go. There's a few of them. Here's a pretty one. And this is one of my favorite ones, of course. You would know that. It's pink. Okay. Spinning, I'm still spinning the Australian fiber that I got as a present from Judy and Louise. And I'm also, as I'm spinning, filming as I add new colors, and it's going to be a fiber to yarn episode that I'll be doing when that's all completed. Pinterest, I found a simple stitch that if you were interested in trying to create something on your own, a wrap or a shawl or whatever, it's called a drop stitch. Is it going to? Drop stitch garter knit pattern, and it gives you directions on how to do that. That's kind of cool. That's Pinterest. Stumble is just something to smile about. It is treadmill kittens. I'm going to try to play a little bit. So if you're interested in viewing that, you can click on the link. It is cute. It is funny.
That's where he does the...
There you go.
Too late.
Sorry. So finally, in the bottom of the show notes and in the down bar down there, there's a link to my Etsy store. If you would, please go and like a few things, and if you find anything that you just can't live without, you can purchase it and I will happily send it to you. Also, Sharon, don't forget, leave me a message, tell me what stitch markers you want and what needle minder you want and your address, and I will get that off to you. So that is all for this week. Thank you for stopping by and spending your precious time with me, and I will see you in 2 weeks for the next episode of the Knit and Purl podcast.